job is to help the company continue to make money. And you see how that ties into different areas. If we don't do our job, people can go pick up people at Uber to make money. They can deliver food. All these different things that Uber does, they can't do that. So they can't make money. We probably stop getting paid to doing layoffs. Breaches happen. It's a lot. So when I always do these talks about, hey, know what you're doing when you do these jobs, because it could be you can get fired, and it's like that. It's like that. Man, what's going on, y'all, man? Another episode. It's your boy, I'm back. It's a lot been happening since the last time I did a solo episode. I got some more guest episodes coming up pretty soon. But first and foremost, what I want to talk about is, if you guys have been paying attention to my social media, my Advance Your Cybersecurity Career course on LinkedIn Learning launched last week, and it's been a huge success. Shout out to everybody who's taken the course. If you want to take the course, like I said, the link is in the description, and I also probably doing a little commercial on it in between it, so you guys can really help your boy out by taking that course. It really helps me out. This way I can also keep on upgrading the studio and adding more features for you guys and really giving you guys some solid premium content. Today we'll be talking about Uber CSO has been pretty much, he's in trouble. And we're going to talk about a little bit of, let me look at my phone real quick because I got the schedule so I can show you what we want to talk about. A little bit about Facebook is kind of doing some quiet layoffs. Pretty much Facebook is telling managers to label people as underperforming so they can lay them off, which is kind of scary. And then I'll also get into some resume issues people are having, and then why you also may be having trouble landing a cybersecurity job. But if you're still listening and watching right now, I appreciate if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button for me. Please share it out for the algorithm so we can keep our platform growing. Also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, any of the streaming services, thank you. Please follow the podcast and keep on supporting. Leave a review. It really helps the podcast numbers. Matter of fact, guys, got a graphic I'm going to show you right here. Salute to all you guys that have been watching this on the streaming services. We have amassed 7,000 downloads for the podcast. So that's major, guys. We have no major backer. Nobody's promoting us but you. So I really thank you guys for really helping me out like that and helping the podcast out. We're going to keep on pushing forward, and we're going to triple that number. Trust me, we're going to triple it. I'm speaking it right now. Heck, it might be quadruple. You just never know, man. But I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. But let's get into the first article. And it goes, former Uber CSO Joe Sullivan found guilty in breach cover-up. Former Uber CSO Joe Sullivan was convicted Wednesday evening on charges stemming from a cover-up of a 2016 data breach at the ride-sharing giant. This is interesting because most of the time, companies scapegoat these incidents by blaming an intern or saying some default creds or some, loophole they try to get out of. But when you really think about it, the people who are responsible are the people that are in charge. It's one of the other reasons why I tell people, hey, don't lie. It's going to come back on you. Let's read a little bit more of the article. I probably won't go through the whole thing. The link will be in the description so you guys can read it for yourself because it's pretty lengthy. A federal jury found Sullivan guilty of obstruction of proceedings of the Federal Trade Commissions and misprision of a felony in connection for attempting to conceal the Uber breach and pay off the hackers through a bug bounty award. Wow. Now, I'm no lawyer, but how I perceive that is he tried to make it seem like, let me back it up for you guys don't know. Companies have these things called bug bounties, and they pay hackers that find issues with their sites and their systems. So instead of him making it seem like they got breached, he pretty much said, oh, it was part of our bug bounty program. That's what I'm surmising from that. I'm gonna read a little bit more so we can see what this is. The breach occurred when two hackers, Brandon Charles Glover and Vasil, I don't know how to say his name, Miaker, used stolen credentials and illegally accessed and downloaded a trove of data from an Amazon S3 bucket that included records for approximately 57 million Uber users and 600,000 driver license numbers. Man. And see, I've talked about S3 buckets, and like that before. They're not supposed to be public. But then also, if you get into the detection side of it, is like when these people access this S3 bucket, were there any alerts that went off saying, hey, unauthorized access or access from a region we haven't seen before? But I know that's not going to be in this report, but that's the type of stuff. Every time I think about a breach, I always think about the blue team and how they responded and what alerts did they get when this happened. But let's keep on reading. At the time of the 2016 breach, the FTC was investigating Uber over a separate attack on the company in 2014 that followed a similar track. Threat actors used an AWS access key that was exposed in a public GitHub repository. They obtained records for approximately 100,000 Uber drivers, including driver's license numbers, physical addresses, and email addresses. Sullivan, who is currently CSO at Cloudflare and who previously worked as a federal prosecutor with the Department of Justice, joined Uber in spring 2015 as CSO. According to the DOJ, he was tasked with leading Uber's response to the 2014 breach and the FTC inquiry. On November 4th, 2016, Sullivan testified under oath to the FTC about Uber security practices, specifically the company's effort to protect sensitive data stored in AWS S3 buckets. Now, with this going on, if you guys don't know, AWS Cloud, Amazon Web Services, that's why some companies are kind of scared to link with some of the control of having their information on-prem, which means on premises, because of kind of things like this. But most of the time, these things happen out of neglect and not effect out of the technology. These technologies like AWS has CloudTrail and CloudWatch to notify you for things like this. But they have to be logged correctly in your environment so you can check up on these things. So if you're a company that is, kind of worried about the cloud or going into the cloud. But 10 days later, Sullivan was contacted by the hackers behind the 2016 breach who informed him they had stolen a massive amount of Uber user data. Authorities claim that hackers demanded a large ransom payment in exchange for deleting the stolen data. Instead of reporting the incident to federal authorities, the DOJ and Sullivan instead designed a scheme to conceal the breach and pay Glover Meeker $100,000 under the guise of a legitimate bug bounty reward in exchange for signing an NDA about the attack. So I was right. Basically, from what I said at the beginning, they want to cover it up like this. But I wonder, how did they get the guys to say, hey, no, that's not what happened? Somebody must have tipped it off. It must have been an insider that was a whistleblower. However, Glover and Meeker were indicted in the 2018 on charges of attempted extortion in connection with a separate hack of lynda.com, now LinkedIn Learning. Hey, shout out to LinkedIn Learning. The two men later pled guilty to hacking and extortion charges for both the lynda.com and Uber breaches. Man, so listen, man. The reason why, all right, story time. I used to work at Target. And this one particular, holiday season, we were getting hit up by these people that are stealing TVs and electronics. So AP, Asset Protection, had pretty much seen who was stealing them. And so what they did was they decided to let them keep on stealing them. So they stole them to where it was a felony. I said all this to say that most of the time, the reason why criminals always get caught is because they don't know how to just do the lick and move on about their life. They got to get greedy and keep on doing it. So with that being said, and most of the time with cyber threat intelligence now, they always report all these things. Some different companies are getting attacked and they're building a case and saying, hey, these are the same guys. They use a similar method at this attack. It's probably them. And that's what they got them to do when they snitched on themselves and snitched on, Uber, which also means why you shouldn't get in bed with criminals, because at the end of the day, everybody gonna look out for themselves. So he was just better off telling the truth from the jump. That's how I see it. But I'm gonna read a little bit more of this without letting it get too boring. According to federal prosecutor, Sullivan worked to conceal the breach from the FTC even as Uber was entering into a settlement agreement with the agency regarding the 2014 breach. In addition, the former CSO also hid the details Other 2016 breach from Uber CEO Dara K. I'm just gonna say that because I'm not gonna mess that name up. Who had joined the company in 2017 as well as the company's legal team and general counsel. Sullivan affirmatively worked to hide the data breach from the Federal Trade Commission and took steps to prevent the hackers from being caught. We will not tolerate concealment of important information from the public by corporate executives more interested in protecting their reputation and that of their employers than in protecting users. Where such conduct violates the federal law, it will be prosecuted. So let me try to get to like what they're trying to sentence him with. I think I said in the beginning, but I'm gonna get to that. And this is a long article, so let's see. Sullivan was eventually charged in 2020 in the same district, the Northern District of California, where he once worked as a federal prosecutor. Sullivan's case became a closely watched affair for the InfoSec industry. Let's see. Yeah, it's a lot going on. I want to see, let me see when Uber went public. Okay. Uber went public in 2019. So it would make sense why he wanted to cover it up, because if you got a blemish like that, you might not be able to go public at that time. And this is why it's so critical, because you have to report numbers and all these other things once your company goes public. So yeah, man, I'm gonna keep up with that. I'm gonna probably try to keep up with that. And that's just funny that now he's finna get sentenced to probably go to jail. Also, the Uber had the breach that's going on, and it's just, Uber is in a bad spot right now. And one of the things I've always said on interviews when I talk to people, when we talk about breaches and like interviewing for like IR roles or a SOC role, anything like that, is like, I've been asked a question like, hey, how would you, say this information to like, the execs and upper management to get them to buy into these security programs and strategies? And this right here is what I would show them, because if you don't put the proper safeguards in place and you get hit, not only is it a fine and money, you have to rebuild your brand and a public image. The court of public opinion is all that matters. And that's most of the time more expensive than just paying the fine. So Uber is, I haven't even checked their stock price. Let me see Uber's stock price right now. I'm gonna see if it's probably went down. Let's see. 9 times out of 10 it did. Actually had a little rally today. Okay, so not too bad. I mean, up 1.88%. But y'all know this show not about no finance, but it's just showing you like how so many different things tie in. Like a lot of times people just are so fixated. Oh, I'm in cybersecurity. I stop the bad guys. I do this. I do that. Our job is to help the company continue to make money, and you see how that ties into different areas. If we don't do our job, people can't go pick up people at Uber to make money. They can't deliver food. All these different things that Uber does, they can't do that. So they can't make money. We probably stop getting paid or doing layoffs. Breaches happen. It's a lot. So when I always do these talks about, hey, know what you're doing when you do these jobs, because it could be you can get fired, and it's like that. It's like that. But yeah, man. Let's get into this this Facebook article really quick. Now, if you guys are familiar with social media, most of the talk we see about is how to get into cybersecurity, how to get into tech. So a lot of entry-level content. Well, if you want entry-level anymore, then I have the course for you. I partner with LinkedIn Learning to give you guys a course on how to advance your cybersecurity career. This course is a short course dedicated to show you things that I learned in my personal career journey that helped me go from being a help desk all the way to being a senior VP in a financial institution. So if you're ready to advance your career, then check out my LinkedIn Learning course. Link will be in the description. Thank you. Facebook to purge thousands of workers as part of quiet layoffs. Facebook executives are in the process of executing quiet layoffs of underperforming workers that could lead to thousands of employees getting pink slips, according to a report. Several employees told the news site Insider that as much as 15% of the company's workforce could be slashed within the next few weeks. One employee told Insider that managers throughout the company were told to select at least 15% of their teams who are categorized as need support. Facebook employees took to the workplace app Blind, where they speculated that it was likely whoever was placed in the 15% category would be out of a job. Eliminating 15% of Facebook's workforce means that some 12,000 employees could be out of a job. those who are deemed needing support are widely perceived to be failing to meet performance goals. These employees are then subject to new requirements under a performance improvement plan, which is a PIP, which is seen as a precursor to losing one job. And yes, so I use the app Blind. There's a lot of stupid stuff on there, a lot of good stuff too. I use Blind and Fishbowl. And I will say I have been seeing a lot of things about Meta doing PIPs, and that's why a lot of people have been looking to just go somewhere else, because now they know, hey, the writing's on the wall. If they put you on the PIP, then they're trying to force a way to get you out of there. And granted, you could be one of the best employees ever. So always keep your options open. It's just like nothing is fair. I mean, in an ideal world, like that's the thing why I tell you guys, like when it comes to getting advice from people, like older people, and they always trying to tell you about like, oh, stay this place and do that and do this. Like, they don't know. This ain't the same place where you could go get a job and work there for 30, 40 years, unless you do something like in government or a city or state, one of those jobs, or a teacher or something like that. You can't do that in like a tech job most of the time. You just got to look out for yourself and always be increasing your skill set so you can make sure you have a job. Hate to say it, but that's how it is. According to Insider, Facebook's chief engineer, Maher Saba, told managers in July that they needed to start identifying employees in their teams who fell into the category of need support, though they did not specify a percentage. The post sought some comment from Facebook's parent company, Meta. Insider quoted a Facebook employee as saying the management is already telling those who are PIP that they need to look elsewhere for work. It might look like they are moving on, but the reality is they're being forced out. Zuckerberg blamed economic headwinds and warned that the company may be forced to undergo downsizing or restructuring. I had hoped the economy would have more clearly stabilized by now, but from what we're seeing, it doesn't yet seem like it has. So we want to plan somewhat conservatively. Zuckerberg reportedly said his comments were first reported by Bloomberg News, 60% of his value. While Facebook maintains the dominant position in the mobile advertising market, serious questions have been raised as to whether it continue to grow, particularly in the face of a fierce competition from ByteDance's TikTok. Shares of Meta were trading 1.41% higher as of 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. Okay. So yeah, man, guys, just stay vigilant, stay ready, be loyal to yourself, and do what you got to do to take care of yourself and your family. That's all I can tell you. This economy is something to watch out for. That's why one of my videos I made a while back was like, lifestyle creep. Now we've seen in the last 2 years an influx of like huge salaries that people are getting, getting into tech or whatever, right? However, the issue with that is some people went and decided to really increase their means. I would tell you to live under your means, not in the sense of eating beans and rice every night. Under your means, like if you go get a new job, a lot of money, if your car isn't broke and it still works, stay with that. You know what I'm saying? If you go get a $20,000 raise at a new job, don't go get that $1,000 car note. Stick with the $500, $600 one you got. Like things like that. Beneath your, stay where you're at. You can save more money that way, opposed to just doing stuff because you think you can afford more. Most of us are like one call away from saying, hey, sorry, but we got downsize. And I've experienced that personally. And if you haven't watched that video, it's right here. I got laid off from my first side job, but I don't want you guys to go through that at all. So stay vigilant. Stay vigilant, man. I don't know why I want to say vigilant. I'm leaving that in here, man. I need something funny that's in the podcast. I know y'all probably think I'm so serious. So I'm gonna leave that in there. I might even put a little laugh track right there, man. But it's pretty dope, man. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. I got some stuff that I've been working on that I can't really talk about just yet. More news may come in the future, and then I could probably really talk like I want to. But I want to end the episode, and it's not like finna end now, but going to the episode part now, like some things that I'm experiencing. Like people are still having. First, let's talk about like some resume stuff, right? And I make this post. I'm probably gonna put it right here. I said on my Twitter the other day, people want $400 resumes for $100. And, some people coming on that, but the people who do resumes and resume writers know. And I'll also tell you there are resume people that charge more than $400. Just do your market research on what resumes can cost, especially in what industry. So specifically, I focus on like cybersecurity, IT, networking, so tech resumes. They want those resumes, for a cheap price and are not considering what all the things that you're asking for. Like, there are people who don't even have experience, who really don't answer what you need them to do when you're trying to get this information from them to do their resume, and they want a good product. And you're saying, hey, I'm doing the best I can with what you gave me. What else do you want? Which is why for my services, I really recommend people to do one of my resume reviews before I actually do your resume. And I'm actually tweaking my resume offering service for that very reason, because I'm really about helping you land a job. I'm not about just, give me your money and I'm just gonna give you whatever. No, because even when I do your resume, I'm always making people, if I've did your resume before and I've did this thing that I'm about to say, I want you to comment or share this out with your thoughts. When I do a lot of people's resumes, and sometimes like I have a questionnaire saying what type of role you want to land, I'll review their experience and then I now look at the role. And most of these people come to me for cybersecurity. I'll typically say, hey, based on your experience and what I'm seeing right now, I don't think that, this would be a good choice for you. You may should look into these type of roles. Some people listen, some don't. The ones that end up listening say, you know what, you're right, thank you. And I've also been, shout out to Gerald Alger, Simply Cyber, follow him on YouTube. He has a course called the GRC Masterclass course. I've probably told about 10 people since reviewing their resumes and doing their resumes, hey, you should try to go GRC route. It's a lower barrier to entry and it's gonna help you out, because I'm trying to give you solutions so you can have content inside of your resume. I've always said this. The content of your resume is better than the layout. I've told some people, like, when I do review their resumes, I'm like, you know what? Your resume just needs some tweaks. You don't need a revamp. And you probably have more skills that you're listing. Like I tell people a lot of times when I review them, say, hey, you got a lot of skills right here, but you need to market them better. That's the big thing about marketing your skills. A lot of people's skills aren't marketed, or a lot of people don't know what skills they need on their resume for the jobs they want because they haven't really researched them. Then they saw, like for me, I ran into some people just getting resume out of me because I had a sale going on at the time for like 40% off. So that was a good price for a resume, no doubt. But, you kind of put me in between a rock and a hard place when you don't give me much to work with. And so I'm very transparent, say, hey, based on what you have, this is kind of what I can do. Do you have anything else you worked on? Or, hey, you should do this, or you should add this section right here eventually once you go do it. Because I don't ask skills you don't have. I know how it is to oversell yourself, and a lot of people oversell themselves, and that's the reason why they do bad on interviews, or they possibly don't get interviews, because if your application actually get pulled sometimes and the recruiter looked at it, they can kind of see where you kind of finessing, like, all your roles say help desk, but you got all these different cybersecurity skills, but you're not showing that you know how to use these skills through any of your roles or any projects. So it's hard for somebody to believe you know how to do the stuff. And that's the thing, guys. If you don't have experience, you need to work on projects, and not just a course that gives you the answers like you find on many of these e-learning solutions. No, actual projects. You can do the courses that are on these different e-learning platforms, build up, a skill set of that. Now say, how do I combine the stuff that I just learned into a meaningful project that showcases I have the ability to do the role I'm applying for, that showcases that I understand what I'd be doing in this role. When you can showcase that as a project, that's when it starts clicking. I'm not going to say this going to guarantee you every role, but what it does is make you more marketable, because even though it's not paid experience, it's showing you know what to do. Because a lot of people go out and they'll go to school and then they'll go get some certifications and then they'll have their regular job and say, oh, I want to go do incident response. But nothing on your resume says incident response. I don't care if you got SEC plus, CYSA plus, or anything. Nothing, and you've been doing like regular work, nothing tells us that you know how to, you understand IR. And most of the roles like IR, SOC analyst aren't really entry level. So trying to go into roles like that without the skill set is tough. And so that kind of is like what I want to go into this section about. Why are you having trouble landing a job? I'll just reiterate, one of the reasons why you may have trouble landing a job because you might not be marketing yourself correctly. The economy's bad right now. Sometimes people are interviewing for roles and then the company's saying like, we wanted you, but they took away our budget. We don't have the money. So I will say this. This is tough to say, but most of the time we're supposed to put in a 2-week notice maybe after the background check goes through. But what I would tell you is, hey, wait till you get that equipment and log on like the first day and then try to do it. I mean, I really don't want you to, you know what? Don't take that advice. I just say use your discretion because, it's been people out here who started jobs and then they've gotten laid off within, a couple of weeks, couple of months, and these people trusted the company. Hey, I just started here. How could you lay me off? So it's kind of like I said, it's one of those things, but I will say any experience is better than no experience. So if that happens to you, at least you're a more experienced individual than you were when you first got the role. But so we got that. Also, LinkedIn presence. Your network is not good. When it comes to that network, man, that network is very crucial. Like I tell a lot of clients when I review, I say, hey, your LinkedIn needs some work. You haven't posted anything. You're not on any comments. You don't have any blogs or anything going on. Like, how is the recruiter or the sourcer supposed to find you and you don't have stuff relevant to what you want to do on your page? Your skills aren't up to date. Your headline isn't up to date on what you want to do, what type of role you want to do. I know, like, and here's an argument like that was had like a couple of weeks ago. It was a poll where a guy was trying to say people were being imposters because they would, like, say for instance, you want to be a security analyst, and so your headline says security analyst, but when it came to your LinkedIn profile, you never worked a security analyst role. I would tell you that's not being an imposter. That's letting people know, hey, I want to move into this role. If a recruiter reached out to me, we'll talk and say, hey, I'm transitioning. This is what I'm working on. This is what I've done relative to cybersecurity. That's how you do it, because that's how they search. That's how they find you. Nobody is firing expiring SOC analysts, aspiring IR incident response team, aspiring CISO. Nobody's looking for aspiring. They're looking for those job titles. I kid you not. Like, job titles and whatever your skills are on your page always get you sourced, and people reach out to me all the time at night, during the day, during meetings. Recruiters, they gonna send a message. That's one thing a recruiter gonna do. If a recruiter gonna do, they gonna message you on LinkedIn if you got the skill set or if it fits what they're looking for. So that's what I see, lack of network. Also, why you could be having issues is a lack of understanding the role or understanding how to think. Like, so remember I was talking about people go get these certs and they probably go to school, but they don't do anything relative to the job. So let's say, for instance, this person interviews. They can't answer any questions. So if you can't answer regular basic questions on like what the role or how they trying to see how you think, that's that's an issue for them. You could be, on paper, everything. It's like we say in sports. This team look good on paper. Everybody look good on paper, but you got to actually play the game. The game is when you get in the interview, it's like they're going to see, okay, what do you know? And I'm not talking about an interview that's just asking you BS questions to see what you memorize. I'm talking about asking you stuff that could particularly happen on the job and how would you handle those. And speaking of that ties into me. I've been posting this last couple of times, but I have these SOC analyst scenario questions I've created. These are for you guys to get your brain juices flowing on what you could expect working in the SOC. So I'm going to also post these in the description again to help you out. If you're trying to interview for a SOC role, you've been interviewing but not got no help or haven't landed anything, like, check those out. Like, these are ones that I concocted myself based on my SOC analyst experience, my SOC lead experience. So please check those out. But I see that a lot though. I've looked at some of those responses, and I'll actually be doing like a review video with my guy Eric Thomas, and we'll be reviewing these and giving solutions on like what would be better answers. Because think about it. If I ask you, hey, and actually want you to pause it right here and think what your answer would be. If I say, hey, how would you investigate an unusual authentication alert coming in from, we can just say it's on AWS. And I say, how would you do that? You need to have some type of process that you'll use or accent, and then ask questions during the interview. What's making them unusual? Did the user pass, multi-factor authentication? Where's the location? Is this on one of our countries of interest? Watch list, like where users shouldn't be logging in from. Is the user on a VPN? What other activity do we see associated to those accounts? There's a whole bunch of other things you can go into, but that's the kind of things they're looking for. Because I'll tell you, everything is not going to have a cut and dry answer. You're going to have some rules sometimes that fire that don't have, a process for it. So that could be a reason. I already said LinkedIn. I already said working on the skills. And you just got to ask yourself, hey, am I trying hard enough to get to where I want to go? So a lot of times some people will say, oh, nobody want to hire me. Nobody want to hire me. Nobody hire me. But sometimes you're not doing all you need to do. You're not making those connections. You're not willing to invest in your learning to go get a professional to help you with your resume or to coach you up on what you need to learn. And therefore you can't get results. It's a guy on Twitter for the last 2 years been trying to pivot out of whatever role he does in tech. And he was complaining about paying a price to, people's services. And he still need help now. Had he would have 2 years ago invested in himself and paid that money, he probably wouldn't even be making those statuses. Something, hey, who can help me get out of this role? It's not an advocate for saying, oh, you got to pay for something. It's just an illustration of saying, what are you willing to do to get where you want to get? I still work out. I can't complain about being big or fat if I'm still eating bad. I'm eating, a dozen donuts and going to sleep, eating a box of pizza every day. But I'm not, watching what I eat. I'm not working out. I'm not eating better. Come on now. It's about investing in yourself. Investing in yourself with a gym membership, investing in good walking shoes, good gym clothes. You know what I'm saying? It's actually resting, because that's when your muscles do the most growing, like when you actually give them time to rest. Like it's a whole bunch of things that can go on, man. But that's one of the things I want to kind of talk about is why you could particularly be unsuccessful. And then the last thing is some people really don't. Let me get this together. Some people want to be in tech, but it's more of a proximity thing. They just want to be associated with it. They don't want to really put in the work or know, hey, you got to keep on learning every couple of months something new. It's something new that's always coming out that you at least got to be knowledgeable of. You can't just be in your silo of working on this, because eventually you're not going to be able to do anything anymore. And I've said this probably on many videos, but it's one of the things I see. You see people that still at the same level and they can't get anywhere, which is why, hey, like I said, you need to check out my Advanced Cybersecurity Career LinkedIn Learning course. About an hour long, good course to really show you how to understand on, if you're having issues going to that next level, based on my personal experiences, how you can get there. So that's definitely a course you need to check out. But I'm going to leave y'all with this. I didn't talk to y'all long enough. Hopefully y'all found some value in this episode. I got some, like I said, I got some great content coming up for you guys. And even more so, I don't want to do that to you guys, man, to talk y'all ears off, man. But if you're still rocking with me, y'all already know what to do, man. Leave a review for the podcast. Share this out. Comment on the video if you had what you took away from this episode. And if you want to be on the pod, emails in the description, business inquiries as well. Reach out to the email address that you find in the description. And it's your boy HD, and we out.